Hello and welcome to the Tarkis zone. Today I'm going to talk about an easy way to feed birds in your neighborhood or around your property. I know many people go to a feed store, will buy sunflowers in big bags, put it in feeders, and the birds just jump on the feeders and get the feed from the feeders. In this method, I'm letting Mother Nature kind of feed these things. I don't have to go get big bags of feed. This is actually just one seed. There's my ducks calling out for me. This was just one plant. You can see the main stem right there. This is one seed that I planted in the spring, one seed, and it made all these tops. And you'll see some of the tops are still in full bloom, and some of them are past. And what's going to happen here, and when we go over to the next grouping of flowers, I think we're going to see the birds on those groupings. So let's just go over here. This is where I'm seeing most of the birds. And you can see on top of that plant, there are dead stalks, or the flowers gone by. And that's where the birds have been perching. Flocks of them come in here. And you'll see that this plant is further along than the one we just left, where there's fewer full blooms and there's more of the dead heads. Now what's going to happen is the birds are going to pick at these for the next 3 or 4 weeks. We're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of seeds per plant. Because look, this is a seed pod that's probably got 200-300 seeds in it alone. And then here's on the same plant through others. And every one of these flowers is going to be a seed pod. And Mother Nature's little creatures, if they're raccoons, if they're mice, if they're chipmunks, squirrels, or even the birds, are going to take advantage of all these seeds. Now the birds what they're gonna do is they're gonna start tearing up those dead ones, and seeds will fall to the ground. Now, I did not have to plant any of these plants this year. What happens is the birds will work these tops and the seeds will fall down. And next year, those seeds will root and become more sunflowers. So you don't have to do anything with a sunflower patch after the first year. So what I ended up doing for this total investment of 50 cents, I went on Amazon.com and got a multi-pack. I think it had like maybe 200 sunflower seeds in it, but it was a multi-variety pack for 50 cents. It was an add-on deal. So I didn't buy something at 25 bucks to get it to ship, but I was doing that anyway. So I got the pack. I planted a bunch of seeds in here last year, and I let the stalks come up like they did this year. And as you can see, this is what they've turned into. And the birds pick at it, take what they need. Seeds fall to the ground. Full entire tops will fall to the ground. That's where the raccoons will get into it, and they'll eat the entire nodes that fall onto the ground. They'll break the node up, and the raccoon doesn't eat all the seeds, so he leaves seeds behind. So there's plenty of seeds for Mother Nature's creatures, and enough seeds that fall to the ground to reseed the area. Now this year what I did is I started cutting these tops off and putting them in cardboard boxes, and I'm going to put them in a dry, cool location. The cardboard will absorb the water that's left in this stalk. Don't just put a couple of these in a cardboard box, not a whole bunch of them, because if there's too much moisture in the box, it'll just mildew and rot. What you want to do is dry it out, and if you do put a bunch in one box, just move them around once a week to allow the air to get to areas that really need to dry the stem out. So by doing that in the spring, I can then do what Mother Nature's doing here with animals, is I'll break the thing up and then I'll plant those seeds somewhere else in my garden. And what I'm going to be doing is, because these self-sow basically, as the birds break them up, I can have patches anywhere I want to plant those seeds next year. And the investment cost is 50 cents. And here is another variety that came up, an entire different variety. And I'll cut the tops of these dead ones, put them in a cardboard box, Maybe wrap some newspaper around them too, just so they dry out, or you even can put them in a dryer. If you've got a beef jerky dryer, put them in there for maybe 15-20 minutes just to get the moisture, or put them in an area where you got a dehumidifier. You get the moisture out of them, break those up in the spring, you'll have this variety everywhere, because sunflower seeds really reroot or germinate pretty much in any soil. So these, again, I planted these last year, and they just self-sowed themselves with the seed droppings that the birds have sent into the soil. Now there's one more great thing about this. Let's say you don't want fields and fields of sunflowers, or, you know, on your property. What I'll do is, even I did last year too, is I let the chickens go out in the yard. And you've been listening to the ducks that are there in the pen back there. But the chickens will get in here and they'll eat the seeds too that they find while they're crapping all over the place. So while they're pooing, they're gonna fertilize this area. So this is Mother Nature's nice little circle of life. I will never have to replant this because it will re-sow. I can allow the chickens in to get the droppings on the ground, and there'll still be enough to re-sow. The raccoons, chipmunks, squirrels will also get their share, and there'll still be enough seeds to re-sow this. So in a sense, I've got a self-sustaining ecosystem for whatever critter is within miles of my property. You know, that could fly here, and that can live under my shed and, you know, walk here. So I just wanted to point out how sunflowers can be a crucial element in your yard, especially if you want to attract birds, lots of birds. And if you're attracting birds like this variety of sunflower does, make sure you get a water source somewhere. I've got a large pond way down past those birch trees, so I've got a big body of water there so the birds can drink there. They come up here, they get what they want out of the plants, they go back and they get their water. Now, you don't want to attract a lot of birds to your property if you have no way to hydrate them. Well, what will happen is the birds just won't come around. You got to have hydration for them. You know, yeah, if you watch a chicken eat, you know, it'll fill up its throat up with a bunch of seeds or whatever it picks up, and then it goes to water, and then grinds them down using water. Now, birds are, most birds are the same way. They need a water source. So in this garden, I have a little water source there that some birds go to. I make sure that's always got water in it. And then I've got the pond down there. That gives them plenty of water. So you don't try to pull lots of birds to your property, or if you don't see any birds and you've got plants like this and there's no birds, put a water source out. Take a 5-gallon bucket, fill it with water, stick it on the lawn. Just dump out the water maybe every 2 or 3 days. What happens is stagnant water attracts mosquitoes, which is another entirely different topic. So just make sure that your water source doesn't generate mosquito larvae. All right, let's go over to these. These here I did buy. These are a whole different variety. I got these off Amazon again. I think I paid $1 for a pack of 50. Well, look at these things. And I have to look up to see these things. And what I'll do is I'll take just one of these and I'll dry it out in the method that I explained so that I can replant this anywhere in my yard. I don't have to buy seeds ever again. And then I'll let Mother Nature have this one and this one back here. So I'll let the birds, I mean, if a coon jumps up here and grabs it and eats it, great. I mean, it's out there for the taking. You know, obviously I get some enjoyment for how well these look. But again, I'd rather have Mother Nature help fix the ecosystem that we humans have kind of messed up a little bit. We're just trying to do our part. Again, not what this video is supposed to be about. But I guess, you know, you pretty much got the gist of it. Again, this was just one seed. I planted one seed in here. This one I did plant this year, because what I did is I pulled seeds off those last year and took one of those seeds and planted it here. So the whole putting it in a cardboard box, letting it dry out, breaking it up in the spring, planted the seeds, that works because this is a plant that supports that entire process. And I only needed to plant one here to get this entire plant to grow. Well, I hope this is helpful to folks, and you know, just to recap, it supports the birds. I mean, really, if you're a bird watcher, this is what you want. It saves you from having to go just buy bags of seed, throw them in a feeder, saves you expense with a feeder, saves you expense of going with gas to go get the seeds. This is basically, you're getting one seed in the ground to basically allow Mother Nature to have as much bounty as it wants from this one plant. And, you know, and those plants. So again, this has been the Tarkis Zone. Thank you for joining me.